Hello, everyone. Happy Brain Training Day. Happy Monday. Happy Writers Cafe Day. It's Monday in the Bond to Build community. And today is our weekly day where we all get together for our brain training session. So, for brain training, this is hosted by Diontrae. I always kind of open it up and kind of get us going. We're going to be talking about a subject matter that he chose with us for us today, just to kind of get our minds ready for the week, get our spirits feeling good, have some conversation and some interaction with each other. But we're looking forward to watching today's video. I did not get a chance to preview it yet. So Rick, if you can just kind of introduce us to the topic of the day and let us know why you were inspired to share this with us.
The topic of today, it was just talking about imagination, and I just wanted to how we can well, the whole week I was thinking about how we can use imagination to bring forth our dreams, bring forth the things that we want to accomplish and achieve. So I was trying to find different videos, but this was the video that I ultimately ended up picking. I don't know if it's the best one, but it's it ended up being like a Bob Proctor. It's a short Bob Proctor video, and he was just talking about imagination. And I was thinking a lot about imagination, how to do, even though the world around you is not what not what you want, but in your mind you have something that you want to achieve, and so that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to really discuss and talk about. But this video kind of talks about it, and so I just wanted to get your mind off from what's around you, because what's around you may not necessarily, or usually, is not the fulfillment of what you want, but you already have your mind set on what you want and how to keep your mind focused on what you want. And imagination is a big part of it. So you can play the video.
All right.
Many years ago, I read where Napoleon Hill pointed out that the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world has ever known. And you know, the average individual uses the imagination, if they use it at all, against themselves. They imagine what they don't want. They imagine problems coming. Let's begin to use our imagination the way God meant it to be used. It's the greatest creative faculty that we possess, and we can build anything we want with it. I want you to wander around your home or possibly your office and take a look at all of the conveniences that you have there that you didn't have, let's say, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, 25 years ago. Do you know that every one of them, without exception, was first created in the mind of one individual with their imagination? Do you know you can use your imagination to go into the future and bring it into the present? That's what all highly successful people do. They see where they want to go, and then they act like the person they want to become. It was William James from Harvard's advice. He says it's the actor's technique. Act like the person you want to become. How do you do that? Well, you use your imagination, of course. You see, it's a strange phenomena, but the greatest gift we've got is used very well up till the ages of 4 or possibly 5. The little child, we always wonder what's going on in their mind. They're using their imagination. They're building wonderful pictures in their mind. But then they get to school, and wham, like that, it comes to an abrupt halt. It's called not paying attention. Daydreaming. Well, what they were really doing was exercising a phenomenal mental faculty. You see, we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. They're for our physical benefit. As long as we're living in a physical body and corresponding with the material world, we will use our sensory factors. But you know, I have a couple of little dogs at home that can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. We've got higher faculties. You have perception, the will, memory, intuition, reason, and imagination. These marvelous tools. We can take our imagination and build an image in our mind of how we want to live. Block out what's going now. Don't let your present results have anything to do with this. Just what you want. And it's with your imagination that you will build it. Everything that we have, the camera that I'm speaking to right now, was first created in the mind of one individual. Think of how our world's changed. You see, we were gifted with these higher faculties. We're God's highest form of creation. We were created in God's image. We were given creative faculties to use. And you know, they're only used by 2 or 3% of the population. It's almost inconceivable that people would wander around with so much power and potential and squander it. See, the average person literally tiptoes through life, hoping they make it safely to death. It's such a shame, and it doesn't have to be that way. Think we have giant corporations and little wee creative departments. And the primary reason for that is the average individual really does not believe that they're creative. Now think. Everyone's creative, and no one is more creative than another. It's just that some have chosen to use their creative faculties to a greater degree than others. Imagination, your imagination. What do you want? How do you really want to live? Build the picture in your mind. There's a power that is flowing to and through you. A creative, unadulterated power. It can be photographed leaving your body. Way back in the 30s, Semyon Kurlin, the Russian photographer, perfected a form of photography where you can actually photograph a person's body and you will see the energy glowing from them. Well, that energy flows into your mind. And it's the images you build in your mind that's going to dictate the vibration that this instrument you're living in is in. And the vibration on a conscious level is called feeling. Make certain that you exercise your imagination daily. Build beautiful images in your mind of how you want to live, and then hold those pictures there and live that way. The imagination, the greatest nation in the world, the imagination. You've got one. It's a marvelous creative tool. It deals with the invisible side of your personality. You see, no one will ever really see you. They'll only see your body, and they'll see you the great work that you do. Make certain that your work is great work. And if you keep your imagination alive, keep it active, you're going to have a phenomenal life. You know, life can get better every day, and it will get better every day through the proper use of your imagination. What a wonderful idea. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
I love the
Ricardo,
music.
Yes, ma'am.
Ricardo, I want you to start consciously stop denigrating yourself, because that video is so powerful and so right on, especially for the time we're living in. It's perfect. And when you were introducing it, you were like, well, I don't know. No, honey, no. You need to trust what's flowing through you. Oh my God. Okay, I have to share this. So we know what's happening in the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And from an indigenous and a metaphysical perspective, what I understand is that it's a message to the world, to humanity, about the fact that we're still living out of some old paradigms, some old belief systems, and we need to stop. Because what Putin represents and what he did is something that there was a time in human history when it was accepted. And that's that dominance dynamic, that I can go into another person's home and take over. You know, it's Vikingism. It's being a Viking. He being a Viking, right? And that's an old paradigm that it doesn't work anymore. You know, we are moving out of people are disposable into we need to have reverence for all of humanity, all living things, right? And so if we each as an individual can take that message and realize that anytime this level of tragedy happens, we're being called to become conscious of, you know, because there's all this grief involved. You know, you see that building, an apartment building that was blown out, you heard about the kindergarten, you know, and we know people are dying and suffering. So there's all this grief that comes up. And what grief is about is not just, I'm feeling so bad and sad because of loss, but it's also about what has died within me? What has died within me out of which I can no longer live? And if we all open ourselves up to finding that, like touching that, where's the Viking in me? You know, especially as entrepreneurs, we've been really, you know, this has been the conditioning, especially in America, dog eat dog, competition, only one person can win, you know, who's going to be the dominant product, you know, all of that kind of crazy. And, you know, is that still operating in me? Is this how I think I'm going to be successful and make a contribution to my gifts and my talents and my genius? And if we just take a moment to really become conscious of, is that operating in me, you know, in the shadows, you know, and set an intention to clear that out, it will have an impact. It will definitely have an impact on what's going on in Ukraine. And all of that to say that I've been using my imagination to envision the Ukrainian soldiers dropping their arms, like just saying, no, we're not doing this. We're not going there. And the Russian people saying, we're protesting, we're not supporting this man who's using this old paradigm anymore. And yesterday, I came across a video where they were, a news reporter in Ukraine was interviewing, or somebody was interviewing Russian soldiers that got quote unquote captured. And they were all of them talking about, we shouldn't be here. This is not what we were told what would be going on. We were told it was just an exercise. They said that 80% of the soldiers in the Russian army are conscripted, right? So it's like you don't have a choice. You have to go in, otherwise you go to jail. And, you know, this is a group of men who and women who, for over the last decade, have been watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, right? You know, so they have a different level of consciousness about what's going on. And so to see that video of those men saying, you know, yeah, we shouldn't be here, and saying, brothers, you shouldn't be here. This is not okay, that we shouldn't be doing this. And I was like, okay, that's it. Let me keep up that vision. Let me keep imagining that those soldiers are going to stop. And this is so in alignment with what this beautiful video Bob Proctor is just saying, that we really can, you know, shift up. I always use that term, right? We can shift up our consciousness and it will have an impact for love, for good, for the betterment. Yeah, Ashe. So thank you again, Diontrae. Yes.
Yeah, I always believe everything. Well, I'm starting to believe more that everything thought is a real thing, and so thought pulls from the universe. It attracts from it, like we've always been doing it, except that we haven't or I haven't realized like the circumstance that you have in your life, you've actually pulled that into existence, you know? And so it's like, how do you get your mind off from what's around you and just think about what you want? And it's hard, it's really hard, but I just wanted a video. I just wanted some information just on just being more focused and being more like direct and not letting outside stuff, um, especially in me, dictate what's gonna happen on, you know, just stay focused on what do you want. Like what you want, your dreams are still on the board. Like there's stuff around you that's detracting from it, but it's still what do you want on the board? What do you want? And so like with even with the computer, like it was amazing. Like I was just clicking through and I was just like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I really need. And it popped up and it popped up at a price that I couldn't believe. The price was like so low, like lower than any of the computers I got, and they're so slow. So I
And
was
brand
like,
new.
for real, for real, for real. Like it's less than these slow ass computers I got. And so I was like, it was amazing. So I was like, I just need to keep focused. It just let me know, stay on the path. And no matter what's happening around you, don't feel that you're being, because I always felt that I was being selfish, focusing on what I wanted, but what you want is beneficial for everybody. So stay focused on what you want and your brain will just, your subconscious mind or whatever, it'll attract stuff from places where you wouldn't imagine. So, and then just like he was talking about using your imagination. I don't know why imagination was such a big thing this week for me, but there it
Because we needed it.
is. Yeah.
We needed it. I'm glad you reminded
I
me
mean,
of
it's
it.
so much stuff going on in the world, but it was just like it was still just that right there. It was like
Yeah.
stay on this right here, you know. So
No, I really appreciate today's video, and
Ashe. What she say? Ashe?
Ashe.
Yes, ma'am. I love that. I like that.
thanks for choosing it, and thanks Jojo Pa for reminding Ricardo to not doubt his selections, because if you picked it, you have to know that it's perfect for us to use that day. So I'm gonna be listening to your words next weekend when you do your introduction, that you don't back away from what you choose. Because this is actually, you know, I got a planner. My friend asked me something that I wanted for my birthday, and she's like, pick anything from Amazon. So I'm like, okay, I'm in this thing of trying to write more, and I asked for this thing called a purpose planner, and it has all these different sections in it, but it made me think about stuff that I had never thought about. You know, it made me use my imagination. So this morning, as I was writing in it to kind of plan for my day and plan for my week, um, I realized like there's parts of my life, roles that I play in life that I don't really focus on or put any attention on. So just that alone had me thinking like, wow, okay, here I am with this blank piece of paper. It's asking me, what roles do you show up in your life? And then what do you want to achieve in this role in 6 months? And I was just like, I have an opportunity to create anything I want. So it was just like I realized that one, I was not using my imagination to think about other parts of my life, as a dad or as a partner in a relationship. I'm just always kind of thinking about the business, what's my imagination for that and what I want for that. So this video that we watch actually fed into what I was thinking about this morning of realizing like here we are with this amazing power to create, and literally anything that you want to create, you can start with that imagination just by saying, well, this is what I saw, this is what it feels good, and working it backwards from there. So this thing is kind of engineered in a way where you kind of imagine what that is, and then it helps you drill down to daily activities. So the power of the imagination is something that I feel is not widely as talked about as much as it should be. And I'm hoping that everybody who watches this realizes, like when people say, you're made in God's image, like to me, that's what that means. Like you've been given the power to create, and your imagination is kind of like the key to that. The other thing it made me think about too, as I was thinking about imagination and attraction and energy and all that other stuff, and I'm just like, here we are on this rock floating in space. that's been held together by energy that has been attracted to each other. And it's all being held together because there's like a drawing, there's an energy source attracting and holding stuff together. And I'm just like, holy crap, I've never made the connection to the fact that of course everything is energy driven. Like, of course there's the power of attraction, because this whole existence that we're in is simply because these elements have been attracted to each other and create energy in their unity. So we're part of that. Therefore, we then have that same kind of power to do the same type of thing. So it just made the whole law of attraction thing, and being conscious of the energy that you give off and interact with people just so much more clear, more solidified. So yeah, it was a lot of thought today, but this was good. This helped bring it all together.
And thank you, Michael, because you gave us another understanding as to why, like I said, we can imagine those Russian soldiers dropping their guns, refusing to fight, and that can really have an effect. Yeah, because we're all connected.
You know what's so interesting about that when you said that? I forgot to mention it. I had that vision earlier today and I didn't know why. I'm like, why did I imagine them saying, I'm not doing this, and just the soldiers choosing not to engage? Like, I had that thought this morning.
I'll share that video too.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Let me just say, I had that similar thought a couple of days ago, really just kind of wondering how the, the soldiers feel about, having to do this. And I'm still not sure as to really why they're doing it, or why would they want to do it. I'm sure they have their reasons or whatever, but it just seems so cold and, meaningless, that you wouldn't want to do that to people. And I also saw that as far as the Africans that are over there, they are not allowing them to leave.
I saw that.
And it's like, here we go again. We're caught up into this, this privilege thing. And getting back to, I'm sorry, Diontrae, as they were saying, I think any subject matter that you bring forth is important, because our minds, we don't really think about a lot of what we're thinking about or what we're doing until it's brought to our attention. So just appreciate I appreciate anything that anyone brings to me, and I can decide whether or not it's valuable, or I benefit or others benefit from it. So I appreciate you bringing this subject matter, because it gives you an opportunity to think about things that are a part of your life, but you don't think about them until someone presents it to you to think about.
That's true.
And that's kind of what I appreciate with being a part of this what would you call it? This setting that you have provided for this. Although there's not a lot of people right now, but I feel that, this can benefit people, once it catches on. And also there's a song, Just My Imagination. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And it seems as though the premise for that is, since it's just my imagination, there's no reality to it. But your imagination are your thoughts, and that's your life. So it's not just my imagination.
Temptation.
I'm sorry?
You got Temptation?
Yeah, the song, just my imagination. Right.
That's one of my favorites, but
yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to, share that. And thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And Lizzie, as you bring up about the African diaspora that we're a part of, and how, again, like you said, oh, here we go again, da da da. And that goes back to why we're doing this work every Monday, because it's about, we've got to train our brains to not believe that we're disposable, that we should be last, that it's not okay for us to be respected or matter. That's something that we individually and collectively have got to shift up. And of course, we're working against so many hundreds of years of conditioning. Like when he says in the video clip too about what we do to children in school, which is so hurts my heart, because these kids get labeled ADHD, right? Because they're not conforming to what you have to do in order to be in the factory. I mean, we're still living under that paradigm in terms of the world of work and training children to be able to sit in the seats and look straight ahead and pass these tests. It's an old paradigm. It don't work no more. And since the 90s, the smart for-profit companies have been working to figure out, how do we get people to be more creative? That's why at the Google campus, you can ride your bicycle, you can go get your gym workout. They have these cute little rooms and areas where you lounge and sit and dream and play with a ball and play with crayons. And, it's like, they get it. Like, we need people to be using their imagination or we're not going to last. And so, that whole notion of, how we get so conditioned to become somebody else's belief system. And I feel that we're in a time where we're really, really set to reclaim our power as we are valuable, we matter. Like Diontrae, that's why, I took the time to say that to you. Stop denigrating yourself, because it's a conditioning. Like, what I do is not enough. It won't be good enough. It won't matter. No, we got to let that go. Let that go. And I think definitely this week, the energy is coming for us to say, start using your imagination. What if you could be at the front of the line? What if you could be supported with whatever it is that you decide to do and share in your gifts, your talents, and genius? What if there is a whole audience of people waiting to hear from you, to receive from you? What if that's the truth? And what do we need to keep doing to imagine that, to imagine those kinds of experiences as how life is supposed to be? Yeah. And that's why this Monday work is essential. Essential.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, it was a really good video as well. I loved it. It made me realize, because I try to take every day and remind myself, imagine what you want to do in your everyday life and incorporate it. So I think adding that in and kind of seeing it, and like, I'm someone who just daydreams all the time and I never knew why. And some people are like, sometimes it's just like an escape, it's just a getaway type thing. But then I'm like realizing, like, that's my imagination kicking into how I want my day to portray out, or I want something to portray.
Cool.
Absolutely.
And you always remind me of that too, because I think about that sometimes, Michaela. I'm just like, she living like she ain't got a care in the world. I'm like, that's good. I need to do that more. So I see it when you do it, and I'm just like, oh yeah, we can do that. We can choose that.
Incorporate one thing a day, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
That's, and that's my new soapbox, is about, we've got to come out of applying the connotation of work as manual labor, suffering and struggling, to the application of and use of our gifts, our talents, and our genius. Because that's what you're doing, girl. You accessing your gifts, your talent, and your genius, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. This isn't like, I'm lollygagging off, no. Under my business account, I put all of the movie streamings that I use. That's my business, because I have to be watching these movies. I have to watch The Matrix. I have to watch the MCU. I have to watch all these things. All of this informs me and helps me when I'm, coaching and counseling people, because it's storytelling. And that's what I do as a counselor. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to get a story from you. We're going to create a new story about how you can let go, right, of being stuck in the past. And so that's a business expense. And see, most people wouldn't think that, right? You wouldn't think, what? You putting your Apple Plus on? That's, yeah, Ted Lasso is essential to my work. Of course, that's part of my business account. And so that's where we're headed, is to really understand what is required to support us in being more creative and going beyond the limitations of what we've been believing about ourselves. And imagination is a key. Like he said, it's the greatest nation in the world. Imagination.
I like that. I love that one.
Yeah,
Isn't
that
that
was
a
a
great
good
one?
That one fire. That's fire.
That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is cool. I appreciate today's conversation and just the giving the time and the ability to kind of just view things from different angles, hearing everyone's inputs and everyone's thoughts on, we all watch one thing, but we all kind of take away different parts, and then we can share that and we can exchange ideas. Like, that's the awesome part about this that I really enjoy.
Exactly.
No,
And
I thank everybody for the comments about it. I mean, I didn't even think, but thank you.
and I really believe that it is so natural for us as humans, as a living species, to want to learn. This thing of forcing children to learn, like setting up these kinds of rituals where you get punished if you don't, learn in an amount of time and in a way, and through a specific type of intelligence, you get penalized for that. You get punished for that. There's so many people walking around thinking they're stupid because they failed the spelling bee or they failed the test. And I really want to imagine a world where that's gone away, and where we really honor that as human beings. It's very natural for us to learn, but there are certain things that I don't want to learn right then and there, because my imagination taking me over here. Like, I want to be doing something with my hands. I want to be modeling with clay, and that's what's calling me right now. And just imagine if we just created a school system that did that just allowed children to do what it is that they were feeling they needed to do that day. And having all of that, maybe I want to play the piano now, so I'm gonna go over here and play the piano. And this is like the Montessori model
I was about
of
to
school.
say,
This is what she
okay.
had in mind. Exactly. But even her stuff has been hijacked because of the fear about the economy and crap, but we need to get back to that, because for example, Mike, we wouldn't be here doing this if you hadn't used your imagination for fun to build.
Yep.
You dreamed this up.
Yep.
I think back to, I've kind of always felt that, when we're born, we're taught, you got to go to school and you got to learn your ABCs and all. And that take, the thought of who this person is and what this person can become is second nature, because the things that you want as a child, they're stolen from you because you're taught you got to go to school, you got to, work hard, you got to do all of these things. But in essence, you've lost who you are as a person, as a child. Because a lot of kids, they love to draw, they love to do these things, but those things are taken away from you as you grow older and you get acclimated to what society is supposed to be or what it looks like. And and I also feel that, you know, with this pandemic has created a lot of awakenings. In other words, you can be more creative now because you have the time to do it. And we see that it's needed creativity. So I just feel that the pandemic has created to this world order, you know. It's just, you know, it's an awakening as far as I'm concerned. So
much needed and welcomed
Heard
from
a
my
lot.
perspective. What'd you say, Michaela?
I've heard a lot of people say that the pandemic was a good reset that they needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's our episode for today. This was good. Like I'm itching to put this one up right away. I don't even have to edit anything. It came out perfect. So yeah, I thank everybody for this conversation and for participating in these every week, and Diontrae for having the idea to host something like this. I put the ball in his court. I'm like, hey, I need you to do something in Bonds.
I apologize. I apologize because I was like, all right, well, let me just.
It only took about 6 months.
I hope they like this one. I was like, I hope they like this one.
I'm getting ready to blast the link out.
Right.
On my contacts, on my clients. Y'all need to listen to this.
So I'm gonna thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank the universe, because
comes through.
Let me just say, Jojo, that jazz, that coffee cafe thing got me.
Oh yeah.
I'm on the internet now. I'm collecting sounds, music, rain. I have several of those videos.
Yes.
Some of them are like 2 and 3 hours long, and I'll sit and I'll listen in the background while I'm on the internet. And and as I said before, it takes away from my distractions because I get distracted just like that very easily. But in listening to that, the sounds, it's as if it's actually raining outside. The wind is blowing, the thunder. It's fascinating, and it's therapeutic as well for me.
Yes, it is.
And thank you for that.
So welcome.
Powerful. Imagination. Look at that. Love it.
There you go. There you go.
So for anyone watching this replay, and it's early enough if you're not watching it too late, there's 2 things that always happen on Mondays. One of them being brain training, which we're concluding now. And then we have Jojo Pa hosting the Writers Cafe. It's open for 2 hours. So it's a cafe. Come and go as you need.
It's fantastic.
But yeah, it's happening tonight. Starts at 4 o'clock. Right, Jojo Pa? 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Yeah.
5 AZ, 6 CT, 7 ET, and then midnight in London. There you go.
Look at that. We got the world covered. So come on into the cafe. I'll be stopping by after Carmen and I meet at 5 when we're going to come over to the cafe. So, awesome.
I'll be there.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.